If your child looks at a word and immediately says, "I don't know," they probably aren't just refusing to read. They have just learned that saying "I don't know" is the fastest way to get rescued. I'm Teacher Dan, creator of Spell Blaster, and we need to stop treating "I don't know" as an automatic escape button and instead use it as the starting line for a real reading strategy. A lot of parents hear those 3 words and immediately give the answer. I completely understand why. You do not want your child sitting there feeling frustrated. You do not want the reading session to feel miserable. And frankly, you probably do not want to stare at the word frog for any longer than necessary. So the child says, "I don't know," and you immediately say, "It says frog." Done. The problem is solved for that exact second. But if that happens too often, your child accidentally learns a powerful shortcut. They learn that when a word feels hard, they do not even have to look at the letters. They can just say, "I don't know. I really don't." And someone else will do the heavy lifting for them. This is not because they are lazy. It is simply because they have found the path of least resistance. So instead of immediately giving them the answer, use a short prompt to push the word back onto them without spiking their anxiety. The best first question to ask is simply, "What can you try?" That question is incredibly important because it puts the job back in their hands, but it does it gently. You are not saying, "Hey, you should know this," which makes them feel defensive. You are saying, "You have a strategy. Let's use it." If they still stare at the word, make the prompt a little more specific. Point to the word and say, "Look for a part you know." Maybe they know the first sound. Maybe they know the ending. Maybe they see a little chunk like "at" or "sh." We are trying to help them find one usable piece of the word instead of them freezing up in front of the whole thing. Once they find a part they know, have them move through the rest of the word. Then have them read the word again in the sentence to make sure it actually makes sense. If the word is genuinely too hard, or if it's an irregular word that doesn't follow normal spelling rules, you don't have to make them suffer through it. Tell them the word and move on. That is not cheating, it is good teaching. The point isn't to torture them over impossible words. The point is to make sure "I don't know" stops being a free pass. This is exactly why I built Spell Blaster. Instead of sitting back and waiting for an adult to read the words for them, they get to practice their reading skills by blasting alien invaders in a fast-paced sci-fi arcade game. In Spell Blaster, if they do not know what to do, they cannot just sit back and say, "I don't know." They have to pilot their ship, identify the sounds, and blast the correct letters out of the sky to build the word. It forces them to look for the parts they know. And if they guess the wrong letter, they're one step closer to their ship getting blown to bits. It gives them massive amounts of practice working through tough words, but because it is wrapped up in an awesome video game, they actually want to do the work. So if your child says, "I don't know," do not rush straight to the answer. Pause first and ask, "What can you try?" And if you want a secret weapon that forces them to practice working through words disguised as an awesome arcade super shooter, you can check out Spell Blaster at the link below.